Sarah Chen stood beside the black luxury car, her uniform pressed and perfect. She opened the door for Mr. Richardson, the CEO of Richardson Tech Industries. He walked past her without a single glance, talking loudly on his phone about $1 million deal. This was her life every single day. The other employees at the company treated her like she was invisible. They would laugh and make jokes about her in the break room, thinking she couldn't hear them. Just a driver, they would say. She probably couldn't do anything else with her life. Some days their words hurt more than she wanted to admit. Sarah had been working at Richardson Tech for 3 years now. She drove Mr. Richardson to important meetings, picked up his dry cleaning, sometimes waited for hours in parking lots while he attended long business dinners. Nobody asked about her life. Nobody cared about her story. What they didn't know was that Sarah had a secret. Before becoming a driver, she had been one of the top cybersecurity experts in the country. She had worked for the government, protecting national systems from hackers and terrorists. Her skills were so advanced that only a handful of people in the world could match her abilities, but everything changed 2 years ago. Sarah's younger brother got involved with the wrong people. He borrowed money from a dangerous crime syndicate and couldn't pay it back. They threatened to kill him and their entire family. Sarah made a choice that cost her everything. She used her skills to erase her brother's debt from the syndicate's digital records, but she got caught. The government gave her 2 options: go to prison or disappear completely. She chose to vanish. She changed her identity, left behind her career, her friends, and her old life. She became Sarah Chen, a simple driver. Hiding in plain sight, every day she listened to Mr. Richardson, his executives talk about security threats to their company. She heard about hackers trying to steal their technology secrets. She knew about the vulnerabilities in their systems. Sometimes she wanted to speak up, to tell them how easy it would be for someone to break through their defenses. But she stayed quiet. Her hands gripped the steering wheel as she drove Mr. Richardson home that evening. He was still on his phone, completely unaware that the woman driving him was perhaps the most dangerous person he would ever meet. Not dangerous because she wanted to hurt anyone, but dangerous because of what she knew and what she could do. Tomorrow would be different, though. Tomorrow, everything would change. Sarah didn't know it yet, but her past was about to catch up with her present. The morning started like any other Tuesday. Sarah arrived at the Richardson Tech building at 7:30, ready to begin her day. But something felt wrong. The security guards at the front desk looked nervous. People were rushing through the lobby with worried faces. Inside the executive floor, chaos had erupted. Computer screens were flashing red warnings. Phones were ringing non-stop. Sarah watched as the IT team ran from office to office, their faces pale with panic. Mr. Richardson was shouting at someone on his phone, his face bright red with anger.
What do you mean you can't stop it?
He yelled, "We're losing millions every minute. Fix it now." Sarah stood quietly in the corner, trying to understand what was happening. From the conversations around her, she pieced together the situation. Someone had launched a massive cyber attack on Richardson Tech. They had broken through every security layer and were now stealing the company's most valuable secrets. The technology they had spent years developing was being copied and sent to unknown locations. The IT director, a man named Frank, who had always been particularly rude to Sarah, was sweating heavily. "Sir, this is beyond anything we've ever seen. The hacker is too sophisticated. They've locked us out of our own systems. If we don't pay the ransom they're demanding, they'll sell all our technology to our competitors." Mr. Richardson slammed his fist on the desk. "How much are they asking for?" $50 million, sir? And we have only 6 hours to decide." Sarah's heart began to race. She recognized the attack pattern from what she could see on the screens nearby. This wasn't just any hacker. This was a professional operation, possibly the same crime syndicate that had once threatened her family. The coding style, the method of entry, the ransom demand structure, she had seen it all before. Jennifer from accounting walked past. Sarah whispered to another employee, "Loud enough for Sarah to hear? I bet even our driver could do better than these useless IT guys." They both laughed. Not knowing how true those words actually were, Sarah watched as more security experts arrived. They were from expensive consulting firms, charging thousands of dollars per hour. She watched them type on keyboards, shake their heads, and talk in urgent voices. But she could tell they were lost. None of them understood what they were really dealing with. Time was running out. The company had 4 hours left before the hackers would release everything. Employees were being sent home. Some were crying, knowing they might lose their jobs if the company went bankrupt. The entire building felt like it was sinking into despair. Mr. Richardson sat in his office with his head in his hands. His life's work was being destroyed right in front of him, and there was nothing he could do about it. The great CEO who commanded respect from everyone was now completely helpless. Sarah sat in the driver's waiting room, her mind racing with thoughts. She had promised herself she would never use her skills again. Using them had cost her everything once before. If she revealed who she really was, her carefully hidden identity might be exposed. The crime syndicate might find her. Worse, the government might find her. But as she looked through the glass window at the desperate faces of her coworkers, something inside her stirred. These people had treated her poorly. Yes, they had mocked her and looked down on her. But they didn't deserve to lose everything. Many of them had families to feed and children to support. She thought about Marcus, the young intern who always smiled at her in the morning. He was the only one who treated her like a real person. Just last week, he had asked about her weekend and actually listened to her answer. She thought about elderly Tom from maintenance, who shared his lunch with her sometimes. These small kindnesses mattered. Sarah stood up and walked toward Mr. Richardson's office. Her hands were trembling slightly. With each step, she was walking away from her safe, invisible life. The security guard outside the office tried to stop her. Mr. Richardson is in an emergency meeting. No interruptions. I need to speak with him. It's about the attack, Sarah said firmly. The guard laughed. You're just the driver. Go back to your room. But Sarah pushed past him and opened the door. Inside, Mr. Richardson was surrounded by 10 people in expensive suits, and all looking at computer screens and talking over each other. Everyone turned to stare at her with shocked faces. What are you doing here? Mr. Richardson demanded. This is a private meeting. Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment of no return. I can stop the attack, sir. I can save your company. The room fell silent for 3 seconds. Then everyone burst into laughter. Frank, the IT director, laughed the hardest. Oh, this is perfect. Our driver thinks she can save us. Did you learn about computers from watching YouTube videos? Get her out of here, Mr. Richardson said, waving his hand dismissively. We don't have time for jokes. Sarah didn't move. She looked directly at Mr. Richardson and spoke with calm confidence. Your firewall is using an outdated encryption protocol. The hackers entered through your secondary server and building. See, they're using a distributed botnet with nodes in 17 countries. The lead hacker is routing their signal through encrypted layers. But they made one mistake in their code at line 473. I can use that mistake to trace them and shut them down. The room went completely quiet. Frank's smile disappeared from his face. Mr. Richardson stood up slowly, studying Sarah's face like he was seeing her for the first time. How do you know any of that? He asked slowly. Because I used to be like them, sir. Except I was better. Mr. Richardson stared at Sarah for a long moment. Behind him, the countdown clock showed 2 hours and 43 minutes remaining. His company was bleeding money every second, yet he was trying to decide if he should trust his driver with everything he had built. This is ridiculous, Frank interrupted. Sir, we have real experts here. We can't waste time listening to her fantasies. She probably overheard some technical terms and thinks she sounds smart. But one of the consultants, a woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, stepped forward. Wait, she said quietly. What she just described about the code error at line 473, that's something only someone with deep access could know. I just checked and she's right. There is an error at exactly that line. Everyone turned to look at the consultant's laptop screen. The room temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Mr. Richardson's voice was steady but curious. Who are you really? Sarah knew there was no going back now. My real name is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I worked for the National Cyber Defense Agency for 8 years. I was the lead specialist on the Titanium Protocol project. I've stopped attacks on power grids, banking systems, and military networks. but I made a mistake trying to protect my family and I had to disappear. For the last 2 years, I've been hiding as your driver." Frank's face had turned white. Even he had heard of Dr. Sarah Mitchell. She was a legend in cybersecurity circles, someone people whispered about with respect and fear. The idea that she had been driving them around for years seemed impossible. "If you're really who you say you are," Mr. Richardson said slowly, "why didn't you tell us before? Why work as a driver?" "Because I couldn't exist anymore as myself. I needed to be invisible. And honestly, none of you ever looked at me long enough to wonder who I really was." The truth of her words hung heavy in the air. Mr. Richardson looked ashamed. He thought about all the times he had walked past her without a word, treating her like furniture instead of a human being. "Can you really stop this attack?" he asked. Double quotes, "Yes, but I need complete access to your systems, and I need everyone to leave me alone to work. No questions, no interruptions. And sir, if I do this, my identity might be exposed. The people I've been hiding from might find me." Mr. Richardson looked at the clock, then back at Sarah. "If you save my company, I will protect you with every resource I have." "You have my word," Sarah nodded once. "Then give me access. And everyone needs to leave this room right now." Frank started to protest, but Mr. Richardson silenced him with a look. "Everyone out. Now, give her whatever she needs." As the room emptied, people looked back at Sarah with new eyes. The invisible driver was gone. In her place stood someone who commanded the kind of quiet power that couldn't be ignored. Sarah sat down at the main computer terminal, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. The real battle was about to begin. Sarah's fingers moved across the keyboard like lightning. Code appeared on the screen faster than anyone watching could follow. Outside the glass office, a crowd had gathered. Employees pressed their faces against the windows, watching their former driver work with an intensity that seemed almost supernatural. She typed commands that broke through layers of security, moving deeper into the system where the hackers had hidden their access points. It was like fighting an invisible enemy in the dark, but Sarah knew this territory well. She had trained for battles like this her entire career. The hackers noticed her presence immediately. They tried to block her, throwing up new defenses and barriers. But Sarah was faster. She had written some of the code they were using against them. She knew every weakness and every shortcut. On one of the screens, a message appeared in red text. "Who are you?" Sarah smiled slightly and typed back, "Someone you shouldn't have challenged." The hacker responded, "You cannot win. We are everywhere." Sarah's fingers never stopped moving as she typed, "Then watch me." What happened next would later be described by the consultants as the most brilliant piece of cyber warfare they had ever witnessed. Sarah didn't just defend against the attack. She went on the offense. She traced the hacker's signal through 17 different countries. Breaking through their encryption like it was paper, she found their command center hidden in the code. Instead of just blocking them, she created a trap. She made it look like Richardson Tech's defenses were failing, drawing the hackers deeper into the system. They took the bait, becoming greedy for more data. That's when Sarah struck. She reversed their own virus back through their connection, locking them out of their own systems. The hackers suddenly found themselves trapped in a digital cage of Sarah's creation. Their screens went blank. Their access disappeared. Years of stolen data from other companies that they had stored was now visible to authorities. But Sarah wasn't finished. She had recognized the attack pattern early on. This was the Crimson Syndicate, the same group that had threatened her family. While she had them trapped, she did something bold. She created a message that would appear on every screen they controlled worldwide. "This is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. I am still alive, and I am still more dangerous than all of you combined. If you ever come near my family, or anyone I care about again, this demonstration will seem like mercy. I have documented everything about your organization and given it to people you will never find. Leave us alone, or I will destroy you." The message sent, broadcasting across their entire network before they could stop it. Sarah then systematically dismantled their attack on Richardson Tech, recovering every piece of stolen data. She built new security walls that would take years for anyone to break through. With 43 minutes left on the countdown, Sarah pressed the final key. Every screen in the building flashed green. The attack was over. The company was saved. The stolen information was recovered. The hackers were exposed. Sarah sat back in the chair, exhausted. Her hands were shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. The office door opened slowly. Mr. Richardson entered first, followed by the crowd of employees who had been watching. They looked at Sarah with expressions of shock, respect, and shame. The woman they had mocked and ignored had just saved all of their jobs and possibly their entire futures. Mr. Richardson's voice was thick with emotion. "Is it really over?" Sarah nodded, standing up from the chair. "Yes. They're gone, and they won't be coming back. Your systems are secure now, more secure than they've ever been. I've also documented everything about their organization and sent it to the FBI. They'll be dealing with arrests in multiple countries by tonight." Frank stepped forward, his face red. I don't know what to say. I've been horrible to you. We all have, and you saved us anyway. You didn't know who I was, Sarah said quietly. But that doesn't excuse how you treated me. I was still a person who deserved basic respect regardless of my job title. The words hit everyone in the room like a punch. Jennifer from accounting had tears running down her face. "You're right. We were terrible to you. I'm so sorry." Marcus, the young intern, spoke up. "You were always kind to me, even when others weren't kind to you. Thank you for saving us." "We didn't deserve it." Mr. Richardson cleared his throat. "Dr. Mitchell, I would like to offer you a position as our Chief Security Officer. I'll triple whatever salary you name. You can have a team, an entire department, whatever you need. Please stay with us." Sarah looked around the room at all the faces watching her. These were the same people who had laughed at her just hours ago, but she also saw genuine remorse in their eyes. People could change. People could learn. "I appreciate the offer, Mr. Richardson, but I need some time to think about it. My life is complicated, and I've just exposed myself to people who wanted me to stay hidden. I need to make sure my family is safe first." "I meant what I said earlier," Mr. Richardson insisted. "Whatever resources you need to protect yourself and your family, you have them. Security, relocation, legal help, anything. You saved my life's work. Let me help protect yours." Over the next few weeks, Sarah did accept help. With Mr. Richardson's resources and connections, her brother received protection. The FBI's arrest of the Crimson Syndicate members made her family significantly safer. The government, impressed by her takedown of the criminal organization, agreed to clear her record in exchange for occasional consulting work. Sarah took the position of Chief Security Officer, but on her terms. She built a culture of respect in her department, where everyone, from executives to janitors, was treated with dignity. She often said in meetings, "Never judge people by their current position. You never know what skills or stories they're hiding." The company thrived under her protection, but more importantly, the entire culture changed. Employees started seeing each other differently. The cleaning staff, the drivers, the maintenance workers, all were treated with newfound respect. Sarah kept her driver's uniform in her office as a reminder. Some of her colleagues thought it was strange, but she knew why it was there. It reminded her of the time when she was invisible. And it reminded everyone else that the most powerful weapons sometimes come in the most unexpected packages. She had been mocked as only a driver, but she had always been so much more. Now, finally, she could be both who she was and who she had become.